Intense, evocative music starts and fades into the background.
Every single time you open your mouth, you are being judged. Your words aren't just carrying ideas, they're broadcasting your social position, your confidence, your authority, or your complete lack of it. And today, we are decoding what researchers call the 3 pillars of silent authority. Now, these are not just a few communication tips. This is a system of communication that will fundamentally change how you are perceived.
Okay, let's dive right in. Most people have it completely backward. They think authority comes from a job title, from money, maybe from just being the loudest person in the room. They're wrong. Real authority, it's projected subtly, in the unseen signals you send with every single word you speak. You see, this isn't about what you're saying. It's about the very structure of your language. Most people, completely unknowingly, are using a linguistic framework that signals insecurity, that signals neediness. Let's break down exactly how to see it and how to change it.
Let's start with the first pillar, brevity. Now, this is not about being simple. It's about being devastatingly impactful. And it's all rooted in a core psychological principle that controls how people process everything you say.
Think of your listener's brain like a computer with limited processing power. When you bombard it with complicated jargon and fluff and unnecessary details, you don't sound smart. You're just increasing their cognitive load. You're making their brain work overtime. And the human brain is hardwired to distrust things that are difficult to process.
Just look at this contrast. It's night and day. The weak signal on the left, that's just a word salad. It's designed to obscure, to hide, not to clarify. It forces the listener to try and decrypt what you're even saying. But the power signal? It's a laser. It's brutally efficient, clear, direct, and it takes almost zero mental effort to get it.
This is all about something called the clarity effect. Because our brains naturally trust information that's easy to chew on, clarity itself becomes a weapon of persuasion. You see, insecure people use complex language to try and project intelligence, but truly confident people, they show their power by making a complex idea instantly simple. You make it easy for them, and you control the conversation.
And this quote just nails the entire philosophy. Authority isn't about adding more words, more fluff. It's about having the discipline to distill your message down to its most potent, powerful form. Subtract the obvious, add the meaningful. All right, let's move to our second pillar, because this is where it gets even more interesting. We're talking about the level of abstraction in your speech, a hidden signal that instantly reveals your position in any hierarchy. Social psychology research is incredibly clear on this. High-power individuals speak abstractly. They talk about the why, the vision, the big picture. Low-power individuals, on the other hand, speak concretely. They're focused on the how, the nitty-gritty details, the execution of tasks they've been given. Your language literally reveals if you're the one drawing the map or just the one following the trail.
Just think about this in your own life. The leader gets up and talks about market disruption and future growth. That's abstract. The subordinate immediately asks, okay, but what's the first step? And how do I do this? The language you choose signals to everybody in the room whether you're the one setting the course or the one rowing the boat.
So the takeaway here is all about perspective. When you shift your communication from getting lost in the weeds of how to the broader, more powerful vision of why, you don't just change your words, you change how people see your role in the entire operation. It's about operating at altitude.
And now, we come to the final and frankly the most potent pillar, the one that, once mastered, gives you almost total control in any interaction. We are talking about the strategic use of silence.
John Adams, a man who was never, ever at a loss for words, said this about George Washington. Washington understood that real power isn't always in speaking. It's in controlling the space between the words. He used silence like a weapon of command.
You see, most people are terrified of silence. There's a name for it, conversational silence anxiety. It's that awkward, uncomfortable feeling that makes them rush to fill any pause. And in that rush, they reveal everything, their nervousness, their need for approval, and often information they never ever intended to share. Understanding this is your key.
This is how you weaponize it. It's a simple protocol. First, you ask a direct, powerful question. Second, you hold the space. You listen. The silence will become deafening for them. Third, you allow them to fill that void you've created. And fourth, you sit back and gain the information they would have otherwise kept locked away.
I mean, just look at this comparison. Reactive speech fills space and gives away information, and that just screams insecurity. Strategic silence does the opposite.
It creates space and it gathers information, which signals pure confidence. It is the fundamental difference between losing control and taking it.
Because here's the real secret. True, active listening is a sign of immense strength. It requires the confidence to be open to information from other people, a state that feels incredibly vulnerable to the insecure. People who are focused on their own status are always just waiting for their turn to talk. The truly powerful have the self-assurance to just listen.
So now you have the framework, brevity, altitude, silence. You are now standing at a crossroads.
You will never be able to listen to a conversation the same way again. You're going to start seeing these patterns everywhere. In the office, in negotiations, maybe even in your own family. You now understand the code.
And remember, these 3 pillars are not separate tactics. They work together. Brevity makes your words count. Altitude positions you as a leader. And silence gives you control over the entire interaction. This is the system that's operating just beneath the surface of every single conversation you have. So you have a choice. You can ignore this, go back to living unconsciously, communicating the way you always have, or you can choose to become aware. You can consciously apply these principles and finally take control of how the world sees you. The choice is yours.
If you're ready to see the world as it actually is, not as you're told it is, then join the small group of us who are aware. Subscribe, turn on your notifications, and comment below. What is the most powerful, unspoken rule you have ever seen in action? Welcome to the other side.